Hello and welcome back to the Cave of Treasures again, and we have met our grandfather and we're talking about his mage, Phaelus, who betrayed him. Right? Now I hope we can continue. Um, I hope we can continue. That would be nice. You also remember how you dashed out of his house, his terrifying screams still ringing in your ears as you were desperate to find a hiding place to save yourself. To save yourself. You look at your grandfather. Well, the Phaelus I met is extremely old. Alive, mind you, but barely so. He claimed the Neoscope and this dagger was his. Finally you add. He seemed sad, regretful. He guided me to this island. The Neoscope I understand, but this dagger, let me see it. You show your grandfather the dagger and his eyes widen. He quickly slaps your hand with his ice-cold, ghostly hand, and the dagger falls to the ground onto the treasure. Where did you get this? Who gave it to you? My crew gave it to me at the beginning of the voyage. Now I remember where we got the dagger from. It was not the direct dagger which was thrown at us. It was the dagger which we found in the chest. And apparently, before we found it in the chest, it was given to us by the crew. But it's weird that we only find out about it now. No doubt, provided by the Ark. Your grandfather says. The dagger is cursed. It is part of the treasure. Liak must have had it with him when I stole the treasure. He must have used it to curse and control Phaelus, and he was attempting to do the same to you. You are lucky that weapon was not in your possession very long. You think and respond. Well, if Phaelus was helping Liak get past all the other traps, why did Liak let me find the Neoscope and follow the clues? Why didn't he just bring me here directly? Suddenly you are startled by a groan behind you. I was too weak. You turn to find Liak and two of his crew walking through the destroyed magical barrier into the treasure chamber. He followed you. I was the only one of my crew strong enough to be as far away from the treasure as Strata. When I found you in Strata, I was nigh unto death. You could have easily overtaken me. I needed you to believe the treasure hunt was real. Even in the letter I warned you against me, adding to the realism. But as we came close to the scattersand shoals and nearer to the bulk of the treasure, my strength returned. My plan was to meet up with the Tempest and bring you here directly. But you went overboard before we even reached the first island. After that you have proven very slippery. But we are here now, and I have my treasure, and the two of you will join my crew for eternity. That's very nice. Whoa, what now? Let's get this treasure to the Tempest. As Lyric's two pirate henchmen approach, you hear your grandfather whisper, "Be careful, my child. The choices you make from this point on will determine your destiny." You must either play along with Lyric or resist it to the henchman. You have to react quickly. What do you plan to do? And this is where from this point on, the decisions we make will decide which ending we get. There are a lot of different endings, and if you want to see the other ones, because I will show you only one, then you can play it yourself. I think it's more fun to play it yourself. I want to make my decision and resist. I'm a rebel at heart. You decide to do it the hard way. "You won't get me!" you shout. Your decision to be defiant, however, is only met with laughter. As the two henchmen approach you back up in resistance and trip over a suit of armor, landing heavily on the floor. Luckily, along with the armor is a blade, an Ottoman sword. You quickly pick up the sword as you get up, and turn around to point it towards the two henchmen. But these two wield their own weapons, clubs, and one of them is heavily spiked. You engage in combat and find these pirates much more skilled and aware than the zombies you encountered back on Aden. You suspect that the proximity of the treasure may have something to do with it. You fend off their first attacks. But the way it is 2 against 1. Pretty soon you realize that with their heavy weapons, they'll soon have the upper hand. This time, the spiked mace comes dangerously close and nearly hits you. You might not be able to stand your ground much longer. At the same time, you can see that your grandfather is facing off with Leog. You realized you are outnumbered and must run. Your only escape options are to run back into the cave that you just came from, or jump from the large cliff opening into the sea below. You feel the situation is hopeless and you make a rash decision. Thus you dart to the cliff opening, and without looking back you jump off the cliff away from the treasure and down towards the ocean below. You close your eyes. You imagine various rocks cropping up out of the water, and you say a little prayer that you will not hit any of them. You briefly open your eyes. Shouldn't you already be there? There you go. Before you finish your supplications, you reach the bottom and hit the surface. The pain is too severe, you wonder if you hit a rock, but after a moment, you are convinced you landed in the water. You remain underwater and begin swimming, trying to stay under the surface as long as possible. You swim toward a rock and use it as a shield as you poke your head out of the air. Out for air. Luckily, the pirates above did not see you surface. You continue swimming underwater and make your way close to the shore. You hide amongst the rocks on the shoreline and observe the activity. There are a couple dozen undead crewmen walking up and down the path from the plateau above. Down on the beach there are a few more undead waiting around.